Right. Well, the corona symbolism is undeniable. In Donnie Darko, they kept on showing the corona, and the end of the world was associated with
Mhm.
that. And the end
Yeah,
of
they
the
call it
world,
coronavirus,
the end of the
like a
age and
sun
everything.
virus.
Yeah, exactly. But like in alchemy, the solar is the conscious mind, the masculine, the sun, and then the feminine, the unconscious, is the moon. And so
Mm-hmm.
they use these things in quite a lot. The 2001, the year, and then Space Odyssey 2001, and the Two Towers.
Figure out when the fucking giant octopus is coming, but yeah, it probably has something to do with your brain for sure.
Hey, in the Watchmen show on HBO, there's an episode where a kraken falls from the sky and lands on New York, like a literal big squid. It could be either or. Anyway, I appreciate the call very much and all the leads. Great information here. I'm going to look into this Isaac Cappy thing with JT follows JC.
Yeah.
Very interesting leads as
Um,
well.
well, thanks for taking the call, man. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Call anytime. All right, appreciate it very much. And we haven't even gone through all of the Hoover Dam predictive programming, but there's plenty of it. Last thing we were talking about was Pete Davidson and how he may not be in the know about the Psy War and his family's role in it. He may not know that his dad wasn't merely ritualistically killed at 33. If you're looking at the screen, it's a still shot from season 4, episode 4 of Westworld. And the character had a dream, and it kept her up all night. It was a nightmare. She didn't know what it was. She still can't figure it out. And what she drew, because of her dream, what she painted looks like a space needle, but it's bent, like it's falling over. Again, the space needle, the dam, very consistent symbolism in Westworld. Okay, I have a collection here of Hoover Dam predictive programming. We'll go through some of it. We talked about AOC's fake handcuffs. I'm starting to think her beef with Alex Stein was fake and their BFFs behind the scenes, probably dating. Okay, Hoover Dam predictive programming. Let's see here. I'm going through your comments. All right. This is again Hoover Dam predictive programming. Slowboy Whiteboard put this together. And what we have is a 45-minute compilation showing how Hoover Dam's going to blow. And here's an interesting piece here. A $50 bill folded up gives you a pretty good representation of a Hoover Dam with a crack in it. Again, I mentioned George Floyd and his counterfeit $20 bill. You fold it up, you get the Twin Towers. You fold up the 100, you get the Space Needle with the EMP blast above it, and looks like a tidal wave as well. And speaking of which, the $100 bill, the number 100, the Benjamin, it all ties into the reset. If you look at the movie Free Guy, the guy that pushes the reset button has a Benjamin on his chest. If you look at the new Sonic movie, he gets paid in $100 bills when he goes through Seattle, causes a flood, jumps out of the Space Needle. Again, bombs the place. But the consistent symbolism is the 100. And interestingly enough, 57 years after the Space Needle was opened, they had this thing called the Century Project, where they put $100 million into it. I mean, $100 million is going to pay for quite a psyop. And the fact that they put $100 million into that thing tells you that they're going to do something spectacular. Flat Fact says Hoover Dam has strange astronomical star maps, guide stones. Yeah, there's quite a lot. Let's go ahead and play some of this video. Again, this video is by Slowboy Whiteboard, and I put a link at minds.com/infinite plane society. If you go to the Minds link below, you can find anything we discuss, any screen cap, any comment. I put it all there. So if you want to know what's on my minds, go to minds.com/infinite plane radio. Okay, so here you have a crack in the Hoover Dam on your $50 bill. The Hoover Dam 50th anniversary metal coins. 2014 Bud Light commercial has a ping pong table which looks like the Hoover Dam and it falls over. Look, it goes on and on. Now, here's a very interesting tie-in, though. This one really stood out to me. So, this is an episode of a show called The Tick. It's kind of a a parody of Batman. It's a parody show. This character, the Tick. I think that it's actually kind of funny. I think I don't. A lot of these cartoons are insane when you listen to the soundtracks, like SpongeBob. How's that stuff not designed to make children literally go crazy? But this one's interesting because in the Tick, you have these terrorists who want to blow up the Hoover Dam.
Have taken the city dam hostage, although we can't understand a word they're saying. What?
Okay, so they can't understand a word that he's saying. Now, if you look at the guy, he's got a mask on with goggles, and it looks like a welder's mask. So he looks exactly like the Riddler in the new Batman. The significance here is that the Riddler has been correlated to Q. He's the guy who's sending out the extremists. So here's the Riddler, whose weapon is a Tucker, just like Tucker sent the Buffalo Shooter because he was inspired by Tucker Carlson. The Riddler's weapon is the Tucker. But he looks like the guy on the Hoover Dam video. So going back a few months, a QAnoner stood on top of the Hoover Dam. And he said, here it is. His name was Matthew Wright. QAnon follower sentenced in armed Hoover Dam. Does anybody here want to guess his name? We like to have pop quizzes here at Infinite Plane Radio. And the answer to every pop quiz, by the way, is 33. But I'm just going to ask it for the sake of asking. Put your answer in chat. How old do you think the guy was who stood on top of Hoover Dam? A QAnoner. And he said he was doing it because, of course, well, Q sent him. Waiting to see for anybody to answer, then I'll play it.
A new restriction may be coming that limits pools to...
Here it is. 33, AK All Day 2323. You got it. Las Vegas AP, a 33-year-old Nevada man who blocked the bridge near Hoover Dam with a homemade armored assault video and assault rifles has been sentenced to 7 years. Apparently, he's still using QAnon mottos in his jail correspondences. Anyway, QAnoner gets on the Hoover Dam. He's 33. Jake and Jelly was 33. Code Monkey Z, at the Release the Kraken Cyber Symposium, was 33. These aren't coincidences. But anyway, the connection here is this. Here you have an episode of The Tick where a guy that looks like the Riddler is making threats on the Hoover Dam. Now we have a QAnoner in real life doing the same thing. And he was doing it to try to get the deep state, or rather the sealed indictments that would expose the deep state. He wanted that information immediately. He was tired of trusting the plan. He was trying to get Donald Trump to rush it. Enslaved by Truth says, I rode an electric scooter around the Washington obelisk last night. Smarty Pants says 100 viewers. IPS going up on a Tuesday. Yeah, actually, we are at 149, and that's not counting radio.net and some of the other audio-only streams. All right, let's go ahead and continue going through the Hoover Dam predictive programming.
I'm sorry, we didn't get that.
Good heavens!
Okay, I'm going to continue on. Many examples. Of course, the guy who put the video together has a lot to say about the Hoover Dam and the symbolism inherent in it, suggesting it's some kind of a Stargate. There's rumors of a pyramid beneath the thing. So there's quite a lot. There's 45 minutes plus of discussion about and suggestion here that the Hoover Dam is some critical ritual prop that's going to give way at some point soon. Let me go ahead and play a little bit more. I only watched 20 minutes of it today. So here you're looking at a projection on the Hoover Dam, kind of like what they do with the Space Needle. They like to do these real elaborate things in advance. And if you were watching anything on the TV before 9/11, you actually saw the towers fall in advance. He says here, it has been highly publicized that a future planned false flag of the Illuminati is the breaking of the Hoover Dam. Now, H is 8, D is 4. And this would tie into the the channel Jurassic Liars take on it, where he suggests that 8/4 is a reference to the date where Donald Trump is going to get a crack in his head. 8/4 is a prediction that there's going to be some kind of an attempt. And the interesting thing about 8/4, the date, of course, is it's the 216th day of the year, the number associated with the cycle of the phoenix. But again, 8/4, Hoover Dam, you find a lot of consistent stuff with all of these various events that tie them together. But again, this ties in again with the Kraken thing. So we're talking about water and a dam cracking. And what happened with Roe v. Wade? Okay, so Roe v. Wade, there was a leak. You get a leak from a crack. Then Roe, Wade, water turns, overturning. So again, flood stuff. The 116 was the date of the flood in the Batman movie. The 116 is referenced in Stranger Things before the Kraken because that's where the portal is on their grid coordinates when they say where their base is. They bring up the number 116. Also, the new Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown, she is Justice number, Ketanji Brown Jackson is number 116. So she's the 116th Supreme Court Justice. There are other things with this number we could go into, but I'm suggesting here that this is tying into the Watergate. Interestingly enough, they called it a Watergate in Stranger Things. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in as the nation's 116th justice. Now, there's so much overlapping symbolism and stuff, but I think with Top Gun, they had to throw that number in. July 4th, Top Gun leads as it soars to 116 million. They have to constantly throw these numbers in. They say rise to 116. You'll notice if you paid attention back in 2020, they use the word rise a lot, like with COVID. Rises to 33 here, rises to 33 there. With Robb Elementary, their slogan was together we rise. And it's like, what do you mean together you rise? You haven't died yet. And then after the shooting, the superintendent says, yeah, we're going to raise the school and build it back. He should have said build back better. But raise the school, does that make sense? Burn it down? You don't burn it down. Now, the sign at Robb Elementary that said rise together was the key, I think, because the sign was on a brick wall. And I think this is all code. For the Tower of Babel, Freemasonry, the brick wall, the building up, the rising. And when it said rise together, it's talking about the one world system. So when he said they're going to raise the school, what he really meant, I think, was this. In the term raising, of course, means burning it down. But in the context of the ritualistic killing of the initiate in Freemasonry, they're symbolically killed and then they're, quote, raised to the third degree. So when he said we're going to raise the school, together we rise, I think it's talking about something else entirely. It's about raising the new system from the ashes of the old. Okay, let's see here. Somebody said that the height of the Washington Monument is 666 feet. I read somewhere it was 555 with 111 beneath the surface. Okay, let's continue. We're looking at all of the predictive programming showing the Hoover Dam's going to crack. So here you have the $50 bill. Pretty obvious, water overflowing. It says reference to the Hoover Dam has not only been in U.S. currency, but also with entertainers such as Madonna. So if you remember Madonna in her Baphomet costume, with her legs apart and her arms open, she was basically on a throne. But the throne looks exactly like the Hoover Dam. And so it looks like maybe it's about, this Kraken symbolism, the water, the Roe v. Wade, there's something here. And the way she's posed here, like she's about to give birth, there's something very significant about that. Again, this is Madonna in her, I thought it was kind of a Baphomet pose, but now that I'm looking at the throne, that is definitely the Hoover Dam. We have 156 in the chat. Very interesting number there. if you go into, I'm not going to go deep into the numerology now here, but I've been doing a lot of research for a podcast I'm working on. And so in the New Age, what they've done is they've renamed the gods. So Isis and Osiris are now referred to as Babylon and the beast. The number of the beast is 666. The number of Babylon is 156. So, and you'll probably notice when this is pointed out where it's used, but Jack Parsons started that, and this ties into Doctor Strange. The new Doctor Strange has a character called the Scarlet Witch. And by the way, in Doctor Strange, it starts off with a big kraken thing. But Doctor Strange, what is it? The whole title is The Multiverse of Madness. Now, he's clearly based on Jack Parsons, and Jack Parsons' sidekick was called the Scarlet Woman. Here you have Doctor Strange with the Scarlet Witch. Same character, same meaning. Well, the Scarlet Woman represents Babylon, whereas Jack Parsons would be the Beast. He's the American counterpart to Aleister Crowley. So here you have again Babylon and the Beast in plain sight in everybody's face. Very significant with the Kraken thing. Also noteworthy that Marjorie Cameron with Jack Parsons was a movie star, but she was also the first UFO sightee. She saw a UFO before the Roswell crash. I think it was in 46 when she saw one. But again, the Scarlet Woman in the occult, the high priestess, they call her Babylon. The number is 156. Let me bring this up on the screen. It's like this is a very important character in the occult, in the Thelemic group. And so it's very interesting that they put it in your face. So here you have the Scarlet Woman's star. You can buy it or order one from Etsy. And it says, in the name of Babylon, 156 Kabbalistic adorations. High Society, 156. And what's even more interesting about this in the present context is the Highland Park shooter's mom apparently is part of a Scarlet Woman OTO lodge. And this was given away on her Twitter account, which she pulled. But the heading on top had this symbol from some kind of John D. Enochian angel summoning magic. And I did a Google search, and it was tied to a Scarlet Woman Lodge, OTO. Okay, so let's move on here. Evil Coyote says, I cannot access the Discord server for some reason. Well, hopefully they didn't pull it. Can somebody check and verify, did they WTC7 the Discord server? Ever since, I believe it was the Buffalo shooter, they've had Discord in their sites. Okay, no, Discord is still up. If you want to go over to infiniteplane.media, I put a link up there if you want to join our Discord server. So everyone who's listening, if you're new and you don't want to miss our live streams, if you want to just get the free newsletter, go to infiniteplane.media. It's in the chat. There's a free newsletter. You can get text alerts as well. And if you want to get in the Discord server and have access to our cutting edge research 24/7, it's $2 per month. Memes are free. Okay, again, another glance at the Google Doodle done by one of the victims of the Highland shooter. I think it's very much an inside joke here that it has crosshairs over the globe and over the sun, but crosshairs for the O's. The whole thing was a sniper, and it's a sniper shot. You know, he's on a roof somewhere, so there's like the sniper story, which ties in to Oswald, because on the wall behind the shooter in one of his videos, he actually had a printed out newspaper clipping from when Oswald was shot. Venue nixes Trump-inspired event following warning of possible influx of white supremacists. So the Kraken is the Patriot Front on the right, and it's the Antifa on the left. It's the fringes of the parties. Will China shoot down explorers on the moon? More build-up in the space war scenario. It is space communists versus space capitalists. We must be very concerned that China is landing on the moon and saying it's ours now, you stay out, says Bill Nelson, NASA administrator. The Chinese had made it clear that if they get there to the moon first. So yeah, China may actually colonize the moon. Florida star Anthony Richardson drops his nickname. This is player number 15 from a college football team, and his nickname was AR-15. He changed it because, of course, assault rifle 15. I brought this up earlier today, and to me this is very, I'd say this is very vindicating. So I've been talking about this for like 3 years now. I've been saying, how come nobody cares that Q migrated over to George News, JFK Jr.'s magazine, and started telling lies about JFK coming back from the dead? I couldn't get anybody to carry this story. And as of yesterday, it's now officially broken. RawStory.com, Daily Beast, they're reporting prominent QAnon adherent is bringing back the defunct George magazine founded by JFK Jr., who they believe faked his death in 1999. So this big story about George News being Q, being JFK Jr., has finally broken. And weirdly enough, the guy promoting it, who's actually producing it and editing the thing, is Donald Trump Jr.'s personal photographer. So Donald Trump Jr.'s photographer now is resurrecting George News on the premise that JFK is alive and that he's Q. Like, this is so close to Trump. And this is why I said it was important. I said, the George News Q connection proves that Trump and his family are one step removed from Q. And I've been maintaining this, and I've been letting everyone know, anybody who writes about this, any of these journalists, I've contacted them all, and I've given them the scoop. But they couldn't get a grasp on it because the guy behind George News has been anonymous. Of course, he's hiding. We know who he is. But now that there's another front, now that Eugene Ho, the photographer for Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., now that he's stepped in front of it, now they're finally looking into it. So my expectation is that within the next week or so, there may be some mainstream news breaking regarding the role of Marcus Goldfinch in perpetrating the QAnon psyop. And more importantly, his proximity to the Trumps. It's really difficult to overstate what a big deal that actually is. Okay, so I got a clip here. First caller brought up Alex Jones, and if you want to hear where he's at, I'm going to play a clip here because there's a lot of doom saying here. And look, I'm not
around me.
I'm not a doom boofer. I believe that the reason why they gave us the model they've given us for the world is to restrict our movements. They want us to think our world is smaller than it is. It's burning. It's going to die if we don't change our ways and lock down. And I think they also want to restrict our concept not only of geographical distance, but time itself. They want to limit time. They want to truncate everything. So you got your history, then you got your future, but your future is going to be cut short. They don't want you to think about the possibility of what we're going to look like 500 years from now because, well, the oceans are going to drown us in a couple of years. But I don't follow any of that. I don't think the world's going to end. But I think it's notable that all the popular pundits want you to believe this. So let me play this clip. You can hear what I'm getting at.
And the general public and the crew, who I love, I'm more mad at myself because I get it. We shouldn't have to deal with this. It shouldn't be this hardcore, but it's up to us in this generation and now, and we're about to go through stuff that made World War II look like a cakewalk, look like a Sunday drive. That's the truth. They're going to kill you and kill your family.
And he's got a nuke on the screen. Now, I don't believe in nukes. I think that it's basically it's something they could easily simulate. It's an idea. It's a threat. It's the idea that somebody somewhere has a button they can push and it will reset everything. And so we better pray it doesn't happen. And what is the delivery mechanism? Some kind of rocket, another obelisk. Again, this is, to me, it's just the power of the state being asserted through this idea they have omnipotence. So here you have mainstream conspiracy theorists basically reinforcing the fears that are used to hold the dominant paradigm together.
Sunday drive. That's the truth. They're going to kill you and kill your family. And I can't get the average person to realize, particularly those that serve the system, that if they don't get their heads out of their rear ends, it's over.
It's over. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's 9 p.m. 7/21, 2022, aka